Selections are absolutely essential for anyone using Photoshop. Let's start with the first of two selection tools that we'll cover in this video, the rectangular marquee tool, and just see the letter M on your keyboard will jump you to that tool if you are a keyboard shortcuts fanatic like I am. With the rectangular marquee tool, I will start by clicking and dragging, or with this little sign that says curb your dog. I would love to use this image as a background for going to do, but this sign is distracted. So let's use the all-powerful Edit, Fill, Content Aware, and click OK, and magically it's gone. In fact, to deselect, there are several different ways. I can click away to deselect. I can also choose Select, Reselect, if for some reason I wanted that selection back, and I can choose Select, Deselect. Finally, I will reselect one more time and use my shortcut because that's the way I roll. Control D or Command D will deselect, and that's easy to remember because the word deselect starts with D, so it's a good mnemonic device. The next selection I want to make is I want to pop up some little bubbles of penguins here. Imagine you are creating a silly advertisement. So I am going to open Penguin 2, and I will get ready and double-click and open Penguin 1 from Mini Bridge. I will double-click to collapse Mini Bridge and hit Command 0 or Control 0 to fit in window. Now, as with any tool in Photoshop, every tool, with the exception of the Move tool and the Zoom tool, have nested or hidden tools underneath. You can click and hold Encounter to see those tools, or you can right-click. I am going to switch to the elliptical marquee tool, and I find when most people first try to make it elliptical selection, they start at the wrong spot. If you want to start with the penguin's head, a lot of people will go roughly to the middle and then drag that, but you need to imagine as if this circle had an upper left corner. That is the position where you start. Since I let go, I could easily get in the middle and drag to a new spot, but I cut off the beak, so one click outside of any selection area deselects, and I am going to imagine a corner to a larger circle way up here. So I will click and drag, and there I did a much better job of selecting the penguin's head. If I don't want to include the purse that's in the background, I can simply use my left arrow key and down arrow keys to nudge this until I am happy with it. I often don't drag to nudge in position because, quite frankly, I had too much caffeine. It might be a little shaky. Nudging can be done individually with your up arrow, down arrow, left and right arrow keys, or a power user trick. To make bigger nudges, hold down your Shift key and hit your up and down, right and left arrows. That was with the Shift key. Without, there we go. And I am going to choose Edit, Copy. I will go to the Tribeca image, Edit, Paste, and now this penguin is on its own layer, and to have good Photoshop habits, I will name this Penguin 1. When you name a layer, it is important to double-click in the middle of the name. Don't aim for the right, because that may bring up layer style. Or the left, the thumbnail, that will also bring up layer style. Aim for dead center of the layer name. Now I will go back to Penguin 2. Hit Control 0 or Command 0 to fit in window, and this time I will use a different trick. If I am more comfortable estimating the center of an object that I like to select on both the elliptical and the rectangular marquee tool, you can hold down Alt or Option and click and drag to go from center out. In this case, I am cutting it a little bit off the photo, so I will let go of my mouse, then let go of Alt Options and nudge it over with my arrow keys or up with my arrow keys, or I could simply start over. I will go further up to the left, click and drag to make a selection from upper left or estimated different center point, and hold down Alt Option and drag from the center out. Let go, and I can move this into a better position. Edit, Copy, come over to my Tribeca image, Edit, Paste. And to move the penguin, I need to switch to my Move tool because that penguin is now on their own layer. I will double-click in the middle layer 1 and make Penguin 2. I will click back on Penguin 1 and move this guy to the upper left. Now in both cases, I didn't attempt to keep a perfect circle. Let me show you that. I will come back to Penguin 1. I will go to my elliptical marquee tool and click away to deselect. And this time I will hold down the Shift to keep a perfect circle, letting go of my mouse first, then my Shift key. And before I copy this one, I am going to go to Image, Image Size, and make this smaller. I will make the width 2 inches. Then I will make my selection with the Shift key, Perfect, Edit, Copy, click on the Tribeca image, Edit, Paste, and I am going to paste several times. They are all landing directly on top of one another. So if I switch to the Move tool, I can move the first one and name this Tiny Bird. I will click the next layer, move that, and maybe Tiny Bird, leaving the numbers that Photoshop automatically gave me. And finally, click on this layer, move this guy, and it will be our first Tidy Bird. To finish up, I am going to select all the layers. So I will click once on the first penguin layer, Shift-click on the last penguin layer, and if I want to move them as a unit, I can actually just use my arrow keys on my keyboard to nudge them. I hope you have enjoyed this tour of the rectangular selection tool, the elliptical selection tools, and the tips along with those tools. Remember, Shift keeps a perfect square or perfect circle. When you let go of a selection, your arrow keys will nudge up, down, left, and right. Shift in your arrow keys will nudge in larger increments, 10 pixels at the time instead of 1 pixel at a time. And my favorite, deselect shortcut is Control D or Command D.